For years, my life was just noise, a constant, deafening noise in my own head, screaming for one more drink. It was the noise of shame, of lies, of a life spiraling completely out of control. It was this frantic, chaotic soundtrack that drowned out everything and everyone else. And when it finally stopped, the silence was terrifying. It was the very emptiness I had spent all those years trying to fill. But it was in that silence that the real work began. It was in that quiet that I finally, for the first time, started to actually hear myself. Living with an active addiction isn't just about the substance, it's about the noise it creates to keep you from facing reality. My inner world was a storm of self hatred, anxiety, and a never ending list of justifications. Every single thought was a calculation. How can I get my next drink? Who do I have to lie to today? How do I hide this from the people I love? This internal chaos just destroyed any trust you have in yourself. I'd wake up with the most sincere intentions to change, making promises to myself that I truly meant in that moment. By evening, those promises would be dust. After enough of those cycles, you just stop believing your own words. You lose any belief that your actions and your intentions can ever line up. My life wasn't defined by my values or my dreams, but by the relentless, grinding demands of addiction. It was a total loss of self. I was a stranger to myself, and the noise was the only thing that kept me from feeling how profoundly lonely that really was. My turning point wasn't some dramatic rock bottom moment that you see in the movies. It was more of a slow, painful surrender. It was the crushing weight of 1,000 little failures, 1,000 broken promises, and the heartbreaking realization that I just couldn't do it alone anymore. Deciding to quit felt like the last resort, the only option left. I finally had to admit I had a problem and be willing to do something, anything about it. But quitting didn't just bring instant peace, it brought silence. And that silence was absolutely deafening. All that frantic energy was gone. And in this place was the vast, terrifying emptiness. Without the constant chase, without the noise, who even was I? For so long, my addiction had been my purpose, my companion, my entire identity. And now it was gone. I felt completely untethered, just floating in a void with nothing but the wreckage of my past and a future I couldn't even begin to imagine. It was the beginning, but man, it really felt like the end. And this is where the journey began. The spiritual awakening I experienced wasn't some flash of lightning from the sky. It was more like the slow dawn after a long, dark night. A lot of people in recovery find that spirituality offers a new sense of purpose. And it's not just a feeling. Research shows that these kind of awakenings are linked with staying sober, having fewer cravings, and most importantly for me, a real decrease in depression and an increase in hope. It began not with some divine voice from a quiet whisper from inside. For me, that spiritual awakening was simply learning to listen to myself again. It started with small, almost boringly ordinary actions. Choosing to go to a meeting instead of hiding inside. Writing in a journal instead of letting the anxious thoughts spiral. Just sitting in silence for 2 minutes and noticing my own breath. These weren't grand gestures, but they were small, consistent acts of showing up for myself. Each one was like laying a new brick in a foundation of self trust I had completely demolished. If this story is resonating with you, or if you're on a similar path of rediscovery, please consider liking this video and subscribing. We're all in this together, and your presence here is a part of this community. you know, One of the hardest parts of this whole awakening was learning to tell the difference between the quiet voice of my intuition and the loud shouts of fear, craving, or old trauma. For years, every single impulse I had was suspect, but I learned that the voice of my inner wisdom feels different. It's calm. It's not frantic or demanding. It's that quiet, steady knowing deep in your gut. It's that feeling that leads you toward what's healthy, even when it's hard. It's not the simple, firm no to a person or a situation that you know is wrong for you. It's like relearning a language you were born with but had long forgotten, a language of inner guidance and self respect. So, my life today, it isn't perfect. The silence is still uncomfortable some days, but it's no longer an empty silence. It's filled with a quiet sense of purpose and a growing trust in my own inner compass. Quitting the addiction saved my life, but the awakening that followed in the silence is what's teaching me how to live. This journey wasn't about getting back to the person I was before the addiction. It was about finally meeting the person I was meant to be all along. It's about understanding that sobriety isn't the finish line, it's the starting line for a more authentic and connected life. If you're struggling in the noise right now, please know that there is so much hope in the quiet that comes after. And if you're comfortable, please share a part of your own story in the comments below. Connection is such a powerful tool in recovery. And if you are struggling, please know you are not alone and help is available. I'll leave some resources in the description. Thank you for listening.